let's give people a little bit of time. Already, people have been asking me about polyamory. What about that? And what about open relationships? So let's give people a little bit of time. And how you doing today, Phil?
I'm doing fine. How are you?
I'm
It's
good.
so
I'm
good to
good.
finally be able to talk to you, like
I
live,
know.
because we share messages all the time.
I know. I know. And we still have
Oh,
yet to meet in person.
we will. That will definitely happen. That's not something I'm worried about. That'll
I
definitely
know.
happen.
I know. I know. I know. And I'm trying to make my way out to Sao Paulo. So
Everybody's favorite city. I'm drinking a beer. I hope that's okay.
hey, do you? So I see people are coming on. Hello to those who are coming on. Say hello, say something. So Phil and I are talking about monogamy versus polygamy. So I put that as a title, but it's not necessarily like if you have to be monogamous or polygamous or this versus this, because maybe I feel like relationships are fluid. What do you feel? Um,
I agree with you. And it's also, I think it depends on the relationship. I don't think every relationship should be or is necessarily the same. And actually, I
right.
don't think every relationship should be the same. I mean, every time you enter into a relationship, unless you like living those vicious cycles, which I don't, I think you should come at everyone with a different perspective and see what can come out of it.
Yes, exactly. I agree. I agree. And so, like, at some points, you might want to be monogamous, other points, polygamous, other points, polyamorous, or just open relationship
Or asexual.
or asexual. And so, um,
Shout out to the
yeah,
asexuals out there.
shout, shout out to that. So, it's been interesting because, um, in all transparency, I'm still really learning about this field because I grew up Catholic and I had a certain set of beliefs that this is how a relationship should be. And since I've been living in Brazil, I've opened up more and I've had different types of relationships and I've been able to explore sexuality, explore my sexuality. And I was in an open relationship. I've been in a polyamorous relationship. And I think had I not been living here, I don't think I would have been open to those things. And my one of the partners that I had was bisexual. And so at times he wanted, masculine energy, and other times he wanted
Yes.
female energy. And so I think had I not been here, I would not have been open to that. And so, I think so many people have hangups, and so for me, I was able to let go a lot of hangups, but I'm still learning. And although I've been in poly situations, open relationships, I'm still exploring and learning. And I don't necessarily say I'm one, thing or the other.
Yeah, I totally get that. I try not to put a label on myself because I never know what's coming around the corner. Do you mind if I ask a question?
It
Because you
depends on that
mentioned,
question.
yeah,
Go
no,
ahead.
because I actually I had just shared something on Facebook maybe last week
Uh-huh.
about women saying, "Hey, just because we're not into bisexual men, it's just a choice. I mean, we're not into it,"
Mhm.
which I respect. Not everybody's going to be into
Yeah.
it. But I was wondering because it's a difficult thing to bring up to somebody because
Mhm.
if I go on the spectrum, and I think sexuality is a spectrum, I think
Me
I'm
too.
much more male oriented than female. But I have been with females, and it wasn't me trying to fake it, or I seriously 100% dug this girl or this woman. Um, but that's been my stumbling block is how to approach a woman, and then at some point be like, "Hey, by the way."
Mhm. Mhm.
Do you mind if you put your hand? you know, I wouldn't mind if you put your hand in a couple places, or whatever. Um, so I was wondering how did that happen for you? Like, did he come out to you? Did you already know he was when you met him? Like, how exactly did that happen?
That's a good question. So, and it's interesting because I think this is the first time I've actually admitted this out in open.
Hmm.
My close friends know about this, but I haven't really spoken about this.
Oh,
So,
tonight I think we're gonna let it all out. I have a
yeah, we're letting it
feeling.
all out.
I have
I'm
a
joking. I
feeling
love it. I love
some people are
it.
gonna be
Yes,
shocked.
yes. I think you're bringing this out of me, Phil. So that's a good question. So it's interesting because he and I were friends first, and
Hmm.
I got to know him, and I didn't know anything about his sexual orientation or not. We were just friends, and it never really came up. And then I started liking him, and I assume he started liking me. So we started actually getting closer. And even before we got into a relationship, he was like, "Look, I need to be transparent with you." And I'm like, "What?" He was like, I don't do traditional relationships. This is me. I'm bisexual." And I was like, "Okay, like I like you. Like I really like you, and I want to explore this." So I don't know, and that this is the first person that I've been in a relationship with that was in a. This is a second open relationship that I've been in. Well, actually, this was polyamorous. So, and
Hmm.
let's get into those definitions too later. But this was my first polyamorous. I've been in an open relationship before. My first polyamorous with someone that was bisexual that I know of. Because
And
sometimes
this
people don't
was in
know
Brazil or the U.S.
in Brazil.
Okay.
Again, like all of this is in Brazil because I've
Oh, well,
opened
I
up
want to
so
get
much
into
more.
that with you in a little bit about
Hmm.
Brazil and sexuality, because here it's like, whew, it's very open, let's say. It's blurred lines on everything.
Yes, yes. Um, so let me just say, I don't know if you can see the comments really quick, but
Let me, you know what? I may have to drop out and drop back in because for the last 5 minutes, ever since I tried to close a window, I've been getting a little thinking sign like you're frozen. So
okay,
I may have to Control Alt Delete Google and come back in. So I may drop out and come back in a second because I can't see anything. I got some articles that I wanted to look at
okay,
too. So
yeah,
let's
yeah,
do
do that.
that. I'll be
Let's
right
do that.
back, okay?
Okay,
Because
and
I've
I'll keep
been
on talking.
it's been thinking for about 5 minutes. So let me
Right.
do that.
Okay, perfect. So as he's doing that, I want to say hello to the people that's coming on. Hello, Uncle Ladrinius. Hello, Natibala. Sans Ray. Let's see who else. World's most hated. So world's most hated say I can barely tolerate a relationship with one person at a time. And Sen says, "Hi, may I say something about that?" Of course you can. It should be a conversation that you have in the beginning of the relationship. And so yeah, and so that's exactly okay. Hello, Alex. Hey. So yeah, San. So when I entered the relationship with this ex that I'm talking about, that was a conversation that we had at the beginning of the relationship, and I really respected him for that. And that's one of the other reasons that I entered in this relationship, because I rather know up front than having to find out on my own. So I truly felt like I could trust him and that he's not going to cheat on me. And so I think the basis of our relationship that really made it work so well was that we had that communication from the beginning. And so that really makes a difference. So now there's some differences. I'm not sure. Again, as I was saying, this is still really, really new for me. And so, to my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, anyone, if anyone has something to add, please do. And so basically, open relationship is when you can have sex with different people, have different types of relationships. Polyamorous is when you build a partnership. So you may have one or two or three different partners, and so that takes many different forms. Polygamy is usually when one of the partners have different partners and the other one is monogamous. And then monogamy, we know that's a traditional relationship. So that's my understanding of those. And so yeah, I see people are writing some comments. Let's see what people are saying. Tafari, yes, the purple. Are you wearing purple too? All right. So Alex, how could you possibly have that convo in the beginning before trust is built, but by the time you get the trust, it's too late? So Alex, so this is a good question, and this is what I addressed. You might have just missed it. And so when I was with my partner, my ex, and we were together for 2 years and lived together, and we broke up for reasons that had nothing to do about being in a polyamorous open relationship. So um yeah, he told me right from the beginning, but we were friends. So we were friends first. And I think because we were friends, and when we were both looking at developing something bigger, when he said that to me, I was like, okay, I can I can go in and get into this relationship. And so we had a foundation of friendship first and foremost. And because of that, I trusted him. And so, yeah, I was able to go into this relationship. So, Alex, you make me think of, you know, it's like if you have a transmitted disease. When do you tell that person? Do you tell them in the beginning and might lose them? Or do you wait until you gain trust and then you tell them and then you're like, then this person like, shit, I don't know if I should trust them anymore. You took too long to tell me. So those are sensitive topics, you know, but and so the timing is very vital. But I definitely feel like had he waited until we actually started dating, it would have been different. I don't think I would have been as open. I would have felt as if he deceived me. So I think definitely telling me in the beginning, I would say not going past 2 dates, in my personal opinion. I would say not going past 2 dates before telling someone, but definitely at the very, very beginning. So let's read some more comments here. Sanko Tafari, I said if he's wearing purple, he said he's naked, so brown. I laughed my ass off. So Sans Ray says, I think you're super secure in yourself, and that helps a lot. Oh, thank you, Queen. And you said and she said she totally agrees. Um, it's interesting. I'm not super secure in myself. I am secure, and I've done the points. Oh wait, Phil. Hey Renee, I think you might have to send me the link again. Having trouble getting into the studio. Okay, give me 1 second. Let me just send him this link one more time so he can get in. Give me 1 second, please, because we want to get Phil back on so he can join us. And today's the last day of Mercury retrograde, so things kind of get a little funky with internet and technology. So, all right, let me send that to him, and I hope you guys can still see and hear me as I'm toggling between screens to send him this message. Okay, so I'm back on. All right. So Alex says, "Am I at the temple?" Yes, I am at the temple. Were you in the library? It's nice. Oh, this is so true. My friend Elisa knows all about that. Yes, Phil. So yeah, so yes, thank you guys who are coming on. Please continue to send your comments so we can answer. Natalie Bala. Tell me your name, please, so I could call you by your name. She says she or he I don't know, Nati Bala. Why enter into an open relationship? If you want to have sex with multiple people, just stay single and play the field. Is being in an open relationship having your cake and eating it too? LOL. So that's a good point. That's a good question, actually. Those are two different things, and it's not staying single and playing the field. What's having your cake and eating it too? When people say that, I'm like, well, what's the point of making a cake if I can't eat it? Like that makes no sense. Why are you going to make cake, make something, and then say you can't eat it? That makes no sense at all. But you know, but I understand your question, and it's being sensitive and open because there are many different types of relationships, and we've been grown to have one type of view of what a relationship is, and that's not realistic because there's so many different types of people, so many different spectrums of people, and different ways to love. And I think that for you to be in an open relationship, you have to be quite secure. You have to be secure, mature, and to be able to handle different situations, different emotions, different things that come up. So that is my take on that. It's completely different than being single. You're in a relationship. You can be in different relationships with different people. It doesn't mean that you're going to go out there and have sex with whoever comes up with. In your particular relationship, the two of you will decide how that relationship will look like, what form it will take, whether you guys have serious relationships with other people or passive relationships with other people. However, it is, each relationship will decide that for themselves. Okay, so let's see if we have any other questions. Anyone else have any other questions? Any comments? Um, World's most hated. So you said if you're still on, I see that there's still quite a few people on. You can barely tolerate a relationship with one person at a time. Can you expand on that? Why is that hard for you to be in one relationship and more than with just one person at a time? So I think that when we're looking at different types of relationships, I think that is really important for us to explore why we're in a specific type of relationship. So if you're in a monogamous relationship and then you're cheating, is that really you to be monogamous? Is it better to say I'm monogamous but then cheat and lie behind your partner's back? Or can you be monogamous and truly be monogamous and not be with anyone else? Or the same thing if you're in a polygamous relationship, looking at the reasons why you might be in that open relationship. Is it because that's genuinely who you are? Or is it because there's blockages, defense mechanisms, and it's hard for you to connect? So there's so many different ways. And I think once you do the work and you really um, go through your process and you could see that this is what is for you, this is a type of relationship that works for you. So Alex says I'm open because she liked women before I met her, and a woman can do things for her that I felt I couldn't. I'm okay with that. She is secure and is okay with me sharing myself with another woman. And see, I love that right there, what Alex just said, because to me, I believe when you truly love someone, then you don't have to be possessive. And I think for so many people, they say that they love someone, but when they love someone, they think they own the person and that they're possessive. And I think that when you can see your limitations, see what you can't do, and love them enough to allow them to get that from somewhere else. And then, so when my ex, when he told me that he was bi and, I decided to be in a relationship with him, I was like, well, I can't give him that masculine energy that he might need at certain points in time. So, um, so then I knew at that point that I liked him enough that I was willing to do that. Okay, so Phil is coming on now.
I'm back.
Hey, you're back. Yay,
That took
yay,
forever.
yay. Yes, good, good, good. So, Glaucomo Mogliazzi came on. Thank you. Let's see. He says the saying, if you can't have your cake and eat it because you cannot simultaneously retain your cake and eat it too. I completely agree that playing the field is not the same as having an open relationship. I also think we have trouble separating sex and love. Yes, very true. And Nazi Bala says, but possessiveness and jealousy are natural human emotions, right? And then it shows you value something. Okay, I'm glad you're back on. Just reading the comments. So I don't know if you were able to hear anything or not,
I
but
got some of it. At one point, I had to turn everything off, so I missed like the last four, no, maybe 3 minutes. But I did listen to the one person who was saying that comment, and it's understandable, that comment of, "Hey, if
yeah,
you want to sleep with multiple people, just stay single."
hmm,
But I agree with Giacomo. Is that how you pronounce his name?
yeah, uh-huh. It looks like
Giacomo.
yeah,
Giacomo Mogliazzi.
Italian
Uh,
maybe.
Italian, so very Italian, but they're two very different things.
Yeah,
Because when you enter into an open relationship, it's as if you're both on the same path together. You're trying to experience this together, and there are rules. There are definitely rules, and it's
hmm,
not like a winner takes all. Let's see who can get laid the most this week. No, it's
right,
not like that. It's exploring. It's a different way of exploring sexuality, in the same way that if you bring a third person into the bed, and
right,
it's
right.
just you're expanding it a little bit more in that trust aspect of, I can do this just me and another person while you're lying in bed. But it's just another way to explore sexuality and the bounds of a relationship. So it's definitely not the same, because when you are playing the field, and I've been there, everybody's been there,
Hmm.
you don't have any emotional attachment to anything.
Right.
You're just screwing around. When you are in a polygamous, polyamorous, or open relationship, you're both taking that path together. So in a way, it can create an even stronger bond in the relationship that you're having with the other person. So not really the same.
Yeah, that's a very good point. And there's a famous, well-known couple. I wouldn't say famous, but well-known couple, Juju Mama, and her husband, Carl Stevens, and I forget Juju Mama's first name, but it's something Stevens. But she goes by Juju
Hmm.
Mama. So she shares that in their relationship, they were actually on the verge of getting a divorce, and their relationship wasn't working. And then the two of them decided to go to have an open relationship, and that's what
Hmm.
actually saved their relationship. And so, it actually strengthened it, and so I do see how that could possibly happen, because when you're in an open relationship, it's not just like you said, you're not just having sex with whoever, but you building trust. And so, me, who came from a relationship, a background where I never really trusted anyone, because I was always thought, oh, my partner's going to cheat. When I got into the first time I got into my open relationship, I actually began to learn to trust this person. I trusted
Hmm.
him, and the communication was 10 times better than any other relationship I've ever had. And
Hmm.
we got a lot closer because of that. Like I was able to open up and become vulnerable because of that. And plus, he did work with Tantra as well, so the sex was just like
That
really,
helps.
really good. That helped a lot too. But so yeah, it definitely makes a difference. And each couple, again, you're gonna define the relationship for you.
I agree with that. And I think in that video that I sent you, which kind of started this whole thing off,
Hmm.
that couple that was being interviewed, we should get a link to that video. I'll see if I can find it. But it's a great little, 10-minute mini doc about open relationships, polyamor. And I believe that the couple that was being interviewed said the same thing. They said our relationship was not really going anywhere. And then
Right.
once we got to that level, it's increased it. And another thing, and this may go to all these psychologists out there, it's very strange, but if I'm given the green light, and I've been given the
Mhm.
green light before, it's like I want it less. It may be that thing of like when your mom tells you you can't have it and then you want it more. And then when
Right.
your
Yeah.
mom's like, yeah, you can go smoke cigarettes, go, and then you're
Right.
like, I don't want to smoke cigarettes. What are you, crazy? So there's that aspect of it too. And it may be going into a different area, but I think that's interesting is that once you give the green light, again, I think this idea of having more than one partner is based more on trust. It's based on seeing how far your trust can go in the relationship, and a partner telling you, yeah, I'm not going to get all insane on you if you look at another woman or another man. It
Hmm.
is what it is. We're all, sexual beings. It almost kind of it gives you like that breathing room to be like, yeah,
Hmm.
I'm not even that interested in looking at that many other men or women. So I don't know. There's that aspect of it too, which I think is interesting.
That is so true. So funny, because I've heard people say that's in polyamorous relationships,
Right.
that what, I don't even want to have another partner. We're in a polyamorous relationship, but I'm not with other people. Like,
Mhm.
I have so much freedom. This person doesn't get jealous, nothing happens. And so they naturally don't feel like being with anyone else. So that's so true. So true. So Giacomo
Who's
says,
getting naked? I'm sorry.
oh, yeah. So Tafari is Sankofa Mind and Body. He said he said purple. So I was like, "Are you wearing purple too?" And he said he's naked, so brown. So World's Most Hated said, "Not sure why Sankofa is naked, but as long as Phil doesn't get naked, it's all good."
You guys are
Good
bad.
Phil. I know, right? That must be one of your friends. And Giacomo says you could argue that monogamy isn't a natural human behavior. What do you feel about that, Phil? I do. I don't. So it's so interesting because I really don't actually feel like monogamy is natural. I feel like most animals are polygamous or polyamorous,
Mhm.
and like if you look at animals in nature, they have sex with all kinds of other animals, and I've even seen male dogs have sex with male dogs.
I got it.
Um,
I opened an article about that with the top 10 swingers of the animal kingdom. But look at
mhm.
this. I don't know. Can you see that?
Oh yeah. Uh huh. Oh, this is
Monogamous
awesome.
habits. And they're talking here about how when it is that monogamous habits occurred, and some people believe it was about 4.4 million years ago.
Mhm. Can I add this
One,
to the? Can I add this for people to see?
I think so. Did I share it? I think I shared it so everybody can see it once it's shared. I
Okay, I
think
just put it
everybody can
on.
see it. You can ask
Yeah,
if people
I
can
just
see
put it
that.
on. Can you guys see
Oh,
it?
cool.
Yeah, I just put it on. Thank you. This is so cool. I love technology.
I know it's cool, right? No,
Yes.
StreamYard's pretty cool. Well, shout out to Watif. He's the one that kind of let me know about StreamYard. I was using OBS for a while, which I still like, but for the live chats, StreamYard is probably the best one out there right now.
Yeah, definitely shout out to Watif. He put me on the StreamYard as well. So
Hmm.
he put me onto this.
So
Watif is awesome.
look at this though. This is interesting. This last sentence here. Monogamy is also much more energetically economical arrangement than polygamy, which is wasteful of time and energy as males fight over females. And
Mm.
then he describes cultural reasons to explain why monogamy became the norm. Polygamy tends to cause social problems, leaving many angry men without wives and inclined to behave in risky ways. This increases conflict, lower productivity. In the modern human world, let me see if this gets to where I'm starting to think. Monogamy is far more widely practiced than polygamy. Polygamy is legal in 58 of 200 words. Okay, let me tell me if you're on the same vibe as I am with this.
Okay.
Because I tend to agree with this. I think monogamy on an evolutional and societal evolutional pattern, it works. It's the most efficient, really. I mean, because now you got this partner, you start to build your clan, and from clans come villages, come cities, come nations. It makes
hmm
sense to
hmm
and plus, I mean, you just don't have time to take care of more than one wife. I mean, unfortunately, back then it was just really man and 10 women, not the other way around. But that's another topic, right? Um, but considering where we are now on a societal level as far as ease of everything, like look at you and I, we're
hmm
having our great little conversation over the internet. It's not, I don't think it's something that's necessary for us to have monogamy for a sense of protection, a sense of safety, a sense of order, because we can be happy all by our damn selves. We have everything that we need more or less. So I wonder if this is the reason why maybe it's changing a little bit more. I did open this other article that said it's about 4% or 5%
hmm
of people identify as not monogamous. So I wonder if that has something to do with it. Like on the evolution side, I think it makes perfect sense that
Right.
monogamy would win out over polygamy. But where are we now on that evolutionary pathway or whatever history, which would allow polygamy or polyamorous relationships kind of flourish. I don't know. I mean, I'm just putting it out there. I wonder if that we are at a place where we feel so much safer, so much more, we have so much more options or so many more options. And you even see how late people are getting married nowadays. People are staying single
hmm
a lot longer. Uh, because we don't feel we need it. Like, I don't know if a woman today would feel like, oh, I need to find that husband before, I reach 22, because after 22, my life is over without a man.
Right.
You know, women
Right.
have evolved far enough to say, no, I can be 42 and not need a man. So I wonder
Right.
if that's what's influencing these new thoughts about what a relationship can or should be. So again, open
Right.
question. Long point.
Yes. No, that's a really good point, and I actually I hear what you're saying. It makes a lot of sense, and I know that relationships have been changing, have been developing, and so more and more people now are what I've seen. More and more people are becoming are becoming freer sexually, and I agree. Like the amount of resources that we have, people don't necessarily feel like they need to be married, and so people are able to explore more, and
Hmm.
people are able to not just explore in terms of how many relationships they have, but what type of relationship they've had. And I don't know if it's because of the type of work that I do now, but I've met so many more people who are like gender fluid, pangender, bisexual, queer, and but I still kind of feel like there's more than there was just 20, 30 years ago. And I
Yes.
don't know. I'm just thinking, and again, just because I have more people, even in my age group, talking about that. I just was met a lady the other day, and she was saying that she just started dating other women, and this is recently, like within the last couple of months, and she had always dated men, and she's exploring something new. Relationships with men haven't been working for her, so she decided to try women. So I think that whereas before people would go in a relationship and stay in a relationship, like you were saying, for different reasons, monetary reasons, to build something together, to have money together so they can have a house, create a family. Whereas now people can make so much independently, there is no that dependence on someone else. And
Mm.
so traditionally, in a lot of Caribbean societies, cultures, the women were the ones who were taking care of the kids, taking care of the house, and the men were the breadwinners. I don't come from an American family, but I feel like the American family was similar to that as well, to a certain
Hmm.
extent.
Yeah,
And
nuclear
then,
family.
yeah, the nuclear family. And so now it's changing. I don't need a man to pay for my bills, to pay for my housing. And a man doesn't necessarily need me to cook and to clean, and
Hmm.
my last few boyfriends, my last boyfriend who we were in an open relationship, he did all the cooking. I can cook now, I can throw down, but he could also cook well. And but he had more time on his hands, so he cooked.
Uh-huh.
And
Hmm.
then so if there was a day that I could cook, because I got home first, I cooked. So it wasn't like you're the one who had to cook, and it wasn't like, oh, he's the one who's making the money, so it's just we don't have those dependency, those needs like there were back then. And so I think we have that flexibility, that freedom to explore more and maybe connect to our true sexuality that's within us.
That's a great point that you make about this more opportunity to explore. Because I remember even as a teenager, seems like not that long ago, but if I see how far society's moved, it feels like so long ago. I was a teen around the 90s. And back then, even to come out as gay in the 90s in the United States wasn't something easy to do as a teenager. And you get into this thing about how society has moved to a point where we feel more one, like everything you said, we don't feel as if we need these things like the practical things, so two people in a household to make money, women to feel like, oh, this guy needs to make the money for me while I cook because the man can cook, etc., etc. But also, um, I think it's a safer world. I'm an optimist. I think we live in a
Mhm.
safer, better world today than we did even 20 years ago. There's a lot of things that I don't like going on in the world, but generally speaking, there's less people that are in danger for their lives today than 20 years ago. So with that, I think people feel a little bit more secure in coming out with
Mhm.
these things because I got options.
Yes.
Like if 20 years ago, if Renee said, "Hey, I think I want to start dating women, or maybe I want to have two men, two boyfriends, people would have said, "Get the hell out of here! Like, what are you talking about?"
Right.
Today, it's like, yeah, if you don't like it, well, I'll move my ass to Brazil, and
Right.
I'll do it. You know, it's like I think right now we're in a place in society where if people say, "Hey, I don't like that," or "I don't think that's cool," well, okay, fuck you. I mean, then I'll go somewhere where I'll meet my tribe that think that's cool. I mean, we connect like we're connecting here on the internet. You go on
Right.
Facebook, there's a group for everything. So I think that's what's driving it a little bit more is that we're in a good place. We're not in the perfect place in society, obviously, but we're in a good place right now where people feel a lot more secure about taking these chances, whereas 20, 30 years ago, they wouldn't have. So this
Right.
may be driving it because, like you, I see it a lot more. I see a lot more people just say, "Yeah, I'm in a polyamorous relationship," as if it's like, "Yeah, I'm in a straight relationship. I'm in a gay relationship. I'm in an interracial relationship." Like it's just another type of relationship, and I don't see a shock in people's face when they
Hmm.
say that. It's just like, okay, nice,
Hmm.
do you,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
which I love. I think it's cool. I mean, it doesn't mean everything's for everybody, but I think it's cool that we're getting to a place that it's all right for people to just be open about their sexuality. By the way, question for you. I don't know if I skipped out while you were doing it because you
Mhm.
had mentioned that you were going to define some of the terms. Were you able to get through all the different, polygamy, polyamorous, open? Did you get through to that or
Oh,
no?
I did say a little bit, but I'd love to hear yours. I did say talk about open relationship versus the polygamy, polyamory. But go ahead. I'd love to hear what you have
No,
to
I
say.
mean, no, it's fine. I was asking you. You're the expert on that.
No, no, I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not an expert, not at all. But
Okay.
not in polygamy, polyamory, because it's still fairly new.
Hmm.
Um, Now, if you say I'm an expert in tantra, that's a whole nother story.
Okay, I got you.
So that I am. Don't mean to toot my own horn, but um, so I was just saying, and and I had also said, anyone if they know something different, please correct me if I'm wrong because
Hmm.
this is still a new topic for me. But how I defined it was open relationships as if when you're in a relationship and then you can date other people. And again,
Hmm.
each relationship you define what works for you. And
Hmm.
so you're dating someone else, or maybe you bring them into the relationship with you. But polyamorous is when you actually have a partnership with maybe it might be you might have two or three partners, and your partner
Hmm.
might have two or three partners. So you're actually building deeper relationships and connections. So it's not just the kind of dating. It's a little bit more deeper than open relationship.
Hmm.
And then polygamy is if it's just me who have different partners, but my main partner he doesn't have anyone else. So that's kind of
Hmm.
how I defined it. If you want to elaborate at all, or
Yeah, I pretty much agree with that. I think one thing that I would add, maybe I see it a little bit different. Like open relationship, it's like me and you are going
Mhm,
out, we're in a relationship, but you're free to, if you're going to go out on a Saturday night and you meet somebody, you want to hook up, you want to do something, boom, you do it, but you come back home to me, and vice
right.
versa. And then there's all sets of rules as far as what
Mhm,
can you do, what shouldn't you do, blah blah blah. And we can talk about that a little bit later. And uh, polyamorous, I always saw as it would be me, you, and a third person, kind of in an equal, type of relationship. Not exactly like polygamy. It's like I'm not the
mhm,
ruler of this relationship and I have my 10 wives. It's
mhm,
you, me, and another person, or maybe a fourth person. We're living together. And we are all sharing in some sort of building of a relationship together. And with polygamy, it's exactly like you said. It's just the chief of
mhm,
the house. Um, and his many wives, which gets into something interesting with polygamy because I was reading this great article about a woman wrote and said, why can't women, women should, polygamy should be open for women too. Why don't women have, because that's not seen as cool. Because whenever you have the polygamy, it's always the man and his 10 wives, like that.
Right.
Was that show, Big Love? That was
Yeah.
on some time ago with the
Uh-huh.
Mormons. But you don't have a lot of it the other way around. But I think it's
Right.
because, but you know what it is, Renee? I think it's because women are smart. They did not want, women don't want more than one man in their house. That's too
Right.
many times. It's way too many times the toilet seat's going to be left open or
Right.
left
Right.
up.
Left out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For
I
you
think
to
we're
deal with.
like, right. We're like, look, we got enough to deal with just one man. So it's actually interesting because there's been statistics that show that married men live longer, healthier lives than single men.
Oh, really?
Single women live longer and healthier lives than married women. So marriage actually benefits the man more so than the woman. So
Oh,
yeah, you may
boy.
be stressing us. Damn sure we don't want 10 of y'all.
I agree. I agree. You'd go nuts. I know. I
Yeah.
know myself. I'm like, I would never date myself. I think about all the ways that I piss people off throughout the day. I'm like, no, I could never date me. So, yes,
Right.
I get you.
Yes. Okay. So Alex says, "Oh, you made the best wings I ever ate." Alex, you gotta be here. Oh, side note, sorry guys. I was
Okay.
just talking to two people, Brandon and Anna. They're in our groups, Phil, about doing a wing off. So yeah, I need you to write this down, Alex. I can tell them how good my wings are.
This is
So
great. Well,
anyway,
I'm not from Philadelphia, but I grew up very close, and then pretty much people from South Jersey, we say we're from Philadelphia because it's right across the river, and they have the Wing Bowl. So I'm
mm-hmm,
all about wing offs, because every year before, I think it's the weekend before the Super Bowl, they have the Wing Bowl. And the
mm-hmm.
stadium fills with people, and it's these real big guys, and they see how many chicken wings they can eat without throwing up. So I'm for it. I'm 100% into the Wing Bowl. You let me know.
All right, this is gonna
I'll
be fun.
watch. I'll
Yes,
participate.
I'm going to the States and I'm coming back. I'm gonna bring my Louisiana hot sauce, my Lori seasoning salt, my garlic sauce. No, Lori seasoning salt, my garlic salt, my parsley. I'm bringing
Mm.
all that stuff. I'm ready to cook. So
Oh my
let's
God.
get back to the topic. So you brought up asexual earlier. That some people may be asexual and not polygamous, not monogamous. Maybe there
Hmm.
might be tons of asexualness. Tell me a little bit more about that.
Well, asexual is really what it says. You have no feelings, sexual feelings or associations with anything. And I think of all the subgroups of, down the ever lengthening, sexual spectrum, asexual is probably the one that gets the least amount of love because people just don't get it. People don't
Right.
get when you just don't you don't need to have sex. It's a strange place to be. Why do I bring it up? Because sometimes I don't think I would identify as an asexual person,
Hmm.
but I can go through long, very long periods of time when I just do not need to have penetration sex. I mean, sometimes I could have, you can have touching and mutual masturbation, but even that, it's not something that's like necessary. And then and so much so that when I go through 3, 4 months without any, I'm totally fine. You do end up going through this. Oh, maybe I do want to fuck. Maybe I do want to fuck, and then you fuck, and you're like, oh my god. I mean, I had to spend a lot of money. I had to, I had to do all this preparation, make sure everything. It's like I went through a lot of work for 10 minutes.
Right.
uh, so, so then
That's
I
true.
go back to like I'm fine just watching a porn at night if I need to get off, and it so And again, I don't think I would ID as an asexual person, but I've met asexuals. I've watched a few documentaries on asexuals, and I feel them, I get them, and what they say, and I agree with because I understand that is that what's more important for them is cuddling, touch, kissing, like that's enough to get them off. And again, and it doesn't mean that they don't have some sexual play, but it's not
Mhm.
necessarily like we would see it as like, penetration or anything like that. So it's a definite subset. It's not as much as a subset as people that are sexually attracted to objects. And if you want to see that documentary, I will send it to you. It's very interesting. You would
I
probably
would
get a
love to
lot
see
out
that.
of it.
Hmm.
Yeah, I loved how they did it. They treated these people with respect. It's a little like, wow, like, okay. But yeah, there's these people that are in relationships with bridges and buildings, very different. But it's close. Asexual, I think, gets really close to that level of you're a whack job, type of
Hmm.
as far as sexual identities go. But I dig it. I dig it because
Hmm.
I go through these phases. I definitely
Hmm.
go through these phases where, well, you're in Brazil, and for anybody that's not in Brazil, Brazil is a very sexual country. So it's very easy to fuck. I mean, I could leave my house right now, even if I have to pay for it, you're gonna get sex. I mean, you can get sex like that in Brazil. No, I
Right.
mean, I'm just being real. So I'm in a place that's extremely sexual. That there's opportunities for sex, paid and unpaid. Everywhere, and yet I still find myself through these long periods where it's like I just don't want it, and I think the longest, I think a year is probably the longest that I was just like, I'm cool, I can watch my porno, and that was enough. Like that's enough to, because you do need to get some stuff out sometimes. I think that's important to do, and I'm good, you know.
Right. Right. So it's so funny
I
because
like nothing.
Brazil is a very sexual the sexual energy is high here. You can have sex every day. So when I first got here, I hope none of my family's listening. And I don't care. But but when I first got here, I was like having sex a lot, like almost all the time. And you could be like,
Yes,
I was literally
me
just thinking
too.
about this today. And I would be walking down the street. Some fine ass guy would come up to me. Next thing you know, we're going back to my house. And I'm just like, what the hell? And
Hmm.
but now, which is interesting because I could also go a year, 2 years without having sex, and it's no big deal, you know.
Hmm.
And it's I could even go periods and not even necessarily feel like I need sex, nor masturbation, nor to watch porn, nothing. And then there's other
Hmm.
times where I'm like, um, wanting it all the time, you know. So it's definitely in cycles. It's definitely in stages, and it's also based, a lot of it depends on what you're doing in that given moment in time, how much work you're doing, how busy you are. Or I mean, there's just sometimes where I'm just enjoying myself so much at the beach, I'm chilling and I'm just enjoying life and I feel good and I'm getting stimulated in so many other ways that I don't
Yeah.
necessarily need that penetration, you know.
Hmm.
um or you know, so
Sex is
so
never
I
free.
yeah, so I think that we can get stimulations from different ways, and so some of those different ways might satisfy us, and we don't necessarily feel like we need anything else, you know. So yeah, I'd love to hear from you guys. What do you feel? Okay, I see some people are writing some
Yeah, I see some
questions.
some questions and some funny comments.
Yes. Okay, let's check these out. While we're checking out the messages, um, subscribe to our channel, give us a thumbs up. Phil, you can find him at the Bridge Point. So go to the Bridge Point, give him a like, give him a thumbs up,
If you
subscribe to his
guys
channel.
like, I'm sorry to cut you off. I'm sorry. I
Go
was just
ahead. I
gonna,
do it all the
I was
time.
gonna say, with the Bridgepoint, it's a nerd channel. So if you like movies, if you, every week now I'm doing the Star Trek Picard, Live Long and Prosper. So after the show comes on, I do a live podcast. There you go, Live Long and Prosper. This is the new coronavirus handshake, by the way. Yes.
Okay. Do you go like this without really touch?
Oh, this is
Yeah,
when
what
the
up?
this is when the nerd channel meets the sex channel.
Ooh. And that would be Phil meets Pandada Brim.
But anyway, so definitely we don't talk about this stuff on my channel at all. It's very much nerd, Doctor Who, Star Trek, movies, stuff like that. So please feel free to go over there if you like that sort of stuff.
Right. Okay. So nerdy stuff. If you like it, go to the Bridge Point. I'm sure it's great. And if you're one of Phil's friends, subscribe to my channel,
You can
Pandada
see.
Prim. Oh my God. This has been like a moment that we've been waiting for, like to
I
do this
know
live.
I'm very giddy.
Oh man. So nice.
I'm very giddy, and
Because of
there's
that
a
beer you've been drinking.
wait, there's more coming, and we just saw some random butts behind me. So like, this is my life.
I did see that. Phil, who has a nerdy channel, has naked butts walking past him. Where are you? Are you at your house? Are you home?
Oh my god! Oh my god! I got more beer.
You are. So we got to find out where you live. I might have to come over there and see.
Anyway, no, I'm in São Paulo. I'm in São Paulo. I've been here for 10 years.
No, I know
Gonna be
you're in Sao
11.
Paulo. I'm talking about where are you
Oh,
physically
I'm
right
home. Yeah, this is my bedroom
now?
with my paintings in the back,
Oh, cool.
um, and some random butts that pass
That was
by
like, oh
and give
shit.
me beer.
I think we got
Random
scared. Right.
random butts that walk by and give me beer.
That's the cash for a better life than that. Let's see these comments people are saying.
I know we're
Okay.
giddy. No, but you know what? Listen,
Uh,
time out. I gotta say
okay.
this. I don't, Renee. I don't know
Yeah.
where it is that I met like that. I saw your postings, but
Hmm.
the minute I saw this woman's posting, I'm like, this is my bitch. I was like, this woman,
Who's your
because
bitch?
because you know what? Like, I'm very like, let's get into the nerds. I'm force sensitive, like, but on a realistic level, like, I think I'm a bit of an empath. I
Hmm.
noticed people ever since I was young. People come to me for advice. People like to a point where I had to do some training to kind of block it, because I
Wow.
can walk
Wow.
down the street, minding my own business. People will come to me. I was in Berlin, Germany for 4 days. Look at me. Like, do I look
Mhm.
like I live in Berlin? These motherfuckers. Hey, how do you get here? How do you get there? I'm like, come on. Like, so so I sense people's energy, and I sense this woman's energy through the
Mhm.
internets. And I said, I love this woman. I don't know who she is, where she comes from, but I love this woman. So I'm so excited. Like, for me, it's an honor, to be able to talk to
Aw.
you like live, because we message a lot, but we don't really
Yeah.
like really get down to it. So this is
Yeah.
a good feeling. It's a good feeling. And I was like, no, she's something good. She's got some good energy. Cause I'm like this too. I'm very, what you see was what you get. I'm very
Mhm.
polite. I'm a very
Mhm.
polite person. But if I like you, you're gonna know it. If I don't,
You gonna
you
bitch
know.
slap them?
No, that was a stalker. I had a stalker after me. But
Oh,
no, I won't
okay.
bitch slap you, but I'll just be polite. I'll be very polite. I'll be like, oh, nice, Renee.
So let me tell you guys, Phil
Do
and
you
I are gonna have
mind?
to do another live. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
Is it okay if I smoke a cigarette or no? It's not good.
Do you? It's okay.
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
not good for you. It's not healthy, but
I
you can smoke
know.
a cigarette.
All right, go
So
ahead.
listen, guys. Phil and I are gonna have to do another live that has nothing to do with this sexuality topic. Let me tell you, we're gonna have to do a live on just crazy shit that happens to us in Brazil. Because
Yes.
Phil, this one right here he be having all kinds of stuff that happens. I'm like, yo, you need to write a book.
I'm writing a book. I am. It's in the works. It's in the works.
Okay, yes, you need to. You need to. Okay,
We
so
got a bunch of comments here,
we
though.
got a
Let's see
bunch
what.
of
Yeah,
comments. So Tafari says the sexual energy in Brazil is enough to make you high. Um,
true.
yes. Alex says back when I started going to Brazil in 2003, it was sexually intense. Seems more tame now. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's necessary. I mean, I wasn't here in 2003. I got here in 2011. And, so like I was saying earlier, when I first got here, I had more sex. And I don't know if it's more tame or that I'm just kind of used to it. So now I'm just kind of used to seeing the fine as people walk past me. And it's like, okay, So for me specifically, that's what I feel like it's been. So I don't know. Do you feel like it's gotten more tame
I don't
or?
know. No, but I'm with you. I think I just got used to it. Like when you
Yeah.
first get here, it's like wow, wow, wow. And then you
Hmm.
just get used to it. You're just like, okay, I'm gonna see half naked people in the bank.
Right, right. So I think that might be the same thing that you're experiencing, Alex. Yeah. But so I think that's what you're experiencing. Okay, so Nati
Uh,
Bala says, can you guys expand on how Brazilian sexuality lines are blurred within the country? Oh wait, Tafari says, I mean, just being on a beach, watching makes me free come. Tafari, you are nut. You a fool. Oh, and by
I'm
the
like,
way,
babe,
I know.
what?
By the way, I know Tafari, so I'm not just calling some stranger here a fool, okay? But I know Tafari, and he is a fool. So Devasa, so good
This
to see
is
her.
Rio Connection. This is a very popular beer in Rio. Not so easy
Yes.
to find. Well, no, now it's a little bit more here in São Paulo, but I fell in love with it when I went to Rio de Janeiro. So when I see it here in São Paulo, I drink it. It's a nice beer, Devasa.
Hmm. Yes. Okay, so Natibala sent us a question. Let's see. Can you guys expand on how Brazilian sexuality lines are blurred within the country?
That's a great
That's
question.
a great question.
Mm.
Oh wait, how did that happen? I mean, how did that get on? Did you put it on the screen? So
What?
first comment, did you put it on the screen?
No, I don't know how it happened either. I thought you did it.
I did
Did
it.
he?
I don't. Did I do that
Did
by
did
accident?
did he send us money? So he gets like the special banner. Because I know some
Right.
sites do that. Like if you do like a super chat, and then you can have your questions on the screen. But I don't know. I didn't do
Okay.
anything. Let me
Okay, I got
see.
it off. I think I must have did it by accident.
It was a
And
good
Safari says,
comment to have up there, though.
yes, it was. Let's see. I think what did I do? That's what I did.
Oh, cool. But I like it. It's a
Okay.
great comment.
Okay, let's get back focused.
Yes, I
So,
like that question about the blurred
yeah.
lines. You can
Okay,
go into
go for
that.
it. No, you go in for
Mm.
that. You
Well,
said
how
you
long have
liked
you been
it.
here? How long have you been here?
I got here in 2011, so 9 years.
9 years. Okay. 2009, I got to Brazil.
So you've been here
Blurred
longer.
lines. I've been here longer. So it's cool because we can tell it from two different perspectives, like from a
Yeah,
male perspective and a female perspective. From a male
yeah,
perspective, it's I always joke, and you do you know Stephanie, friend of ours,
yes,
Stephanie, who's here, and we
yeah.
talk about this all the time. How the gaydar, that we talk about, that we have, like it broke when I got here. It doesn't operate, So that's the
Not at
first
all.
thing that I don't know if that's like a Latin thing, because even in the U.S., in the Northeast, you have a lot of Puerto Ricans, Mexicans somewhat, but a whole lot of Puerto Ricans, and they have an energy about them that's, although they can be extremely homophobic and extremely macho, sexist, yet what I always thought was funny is that they give off a very gay energy through all that.
Hmm.
They have their little eyebrows done
Eyebrows.
and this and that. I'm like, it's a very gay vibe you're giving off, as
But I think it's because of the repression. They're repressed. And so this is, their feminine energy wants to come out, you know?
Exactly. So when I got to Brazil, I noticed that there's a little bit of that, but it's like even more because here I don't like when I look at Brazilians in general. Of course, there's exceptions. They don't come off as much like I don't know, pretty boy. I guess is the word. Like if I compare like the average Brazilian to like the average Puerto Rican that I meet, they're like not. It doesn't seem like they spend as much time, doing their nails and this and that and the third. But they have like double this kind of wacky, like I don't know if you're gay or straight energy. So there's a lot of factors that go into that. Obviously, for it being a Latin country, there's a lot more touch. There's a lot of more proximity. Um, there's there's people are just they get together more. So like on the bus, I remember when I was here like maybe a year or less. Maybe I was here like 3 months. And I got on the bus and I saw this guy that I thought was attractive sitting next to me, and I was a little drunk, but then I just started talking to him, and I imagine that same situation in the United States, like me just talking to a perfect stranger on the bus that happens to be another man. I probably would have gotten, punched in the face.
Mhm.
So you're not sure, and if people are just being really friendly or if they're actually coming on to you. And I even had this issue with girls when I first got here because they're just the way that they say hello, oi, tudo bem, como vai, and then
Mhm.
they kiss you on the cheek, and for somebody that's coming from a culture, I'm speaking from an American culture where that's not the norm. If somebody
Mhm.
puts their hand on your shoulder, is already too much touch. It can confuse you a little bit. And then, but once you get past that first level of confusion, which is just, okay, social norms of how to say hello, then you have to understand the social norms of like just people when they're enjoying each other's presence. There's a lot of hugging. Like sometimes I'll go out and I'll see and I'll have some dude's hand around my waist, and he's got his beer and I'm drinking, but then he starts talking about his girlfriend, or
Right.
he's straight. So it's a little bit confusing. It can be
Mhm.
confusing on that end. Speaking from a more male, a homosexual perspective, but then beyond that, which makes it even more confusing, and then that this is where we're getting to the secret stuff that nobody's supposed. We blacked out for a second. See,
Yeah,
are
you're
we on? Are
freezing.
we not on?
We're on.
Did, I know it's just because I'm going to tell the dirty secrets. So the
That's what
internet's
it
trying
is.
to knock us off because I'm going to
Uh-huh.
tell the deep, dirty secrets. Um, the amount of straight guys that enjoy either one having sex with transvestites, and I have transvestite friends, and they're like, you won't believe how many married men enjoy sex with transvestites, and not only do they enjoy having sex with transvestites, they are the bottom. You know,
Mm.
in a lot of these relationships, the amount, like I was telling you today when I was coming back, because today I had a very early morning class, I took a second to use the bathroom, and it's like, whoa, it's like a sauna in the bathroom. All these, very hetero men who are, just letting off steam, I guess, before work. Um, and, and just, yeah, the amount of straight with the right music, the right drink, the right this and the right that, they come on to you, and you don't even have to come on to them. It makes it like in the US, I was like, okay, these are the straight people. How many of them are gay? In Brazil, it's like the opposite. I think these are all gay people. How many of them are actually straight? It's really changed the paradigm really shifted because yeah, it's very central, especially Carnival. We just got off of Carnival, and you see how many men just feel the need to dress up in
with
skirts.
skirts.
Like,
Right.
why do you need to do this? Like, what does what does that have to do with carnival? Like, you as a heterosexual man in a skirt, you can dress
Right.
up as an Indian if you want.
Hmm.
If you want to say it's racially insensitive, but okay, you have the option of dressing up as an Indian. You can dress up as put a turban on. You can put feathers
Right.
on you. You can do like 100 different costumes. You can go out as Batman, as Superman, other than put on a skirt and a halter
Hmm.
top. So all this stuff adds up and it just turns into what the hell are Brazilian men? Like I
Right.
said, for me, I always come with this perspective of they're gay first, or at least are willing to do some gay stuff first, and 100% hetero. I don't know. There's got to be a couple out there. I'm sure there are. I'm sure
Right.
there are. So
Right.
that's where I say, from my perspective, where the lines are blurred. You never know.
Mm.
You just never
Yeah.
know what's gonna go down, and some stuff has gone down that shocked me. Even I'm like, what?
Hmm.
You
Yeah.
like this stuff? And it's like,
Right.
boom. I mean, I didn't say no.
Right.
I
Yeah.
was just like,
And and I've
really?
experienced
All right, let's go.
so I experienced some of the similar things as well. So when I first got here, I would have men, women, touching all over me, putting their hands, hugging. And I really thought that they were interested in me. I was like, oh, this person is hitting on me. And same thing, they would then talk about their partner. And I'm like, oh, I guess not. Then at one point I had a boyfriend. My first year here, I had a boyfriend. And I was over, his house. There's a bunch of us there. His best friend and the best friend's girlfriend was there. His best friend had his head on my shoulders, and the girlfriend is like sitting on the other sofa. And I was like, what's going on?
Uh
Are they trying to like set up to have like a menage a quattro or something? You
huh.
know?
That
So
happened to me last year, but okay.
the menage a quattro, or so that would be swinging.
Yes. Oh, that's
So
another topic that we can get
that
into here because
is
there's a lot of swingers in São Paulo. Oh my
a
goodness.
lot
There's
of
a
swingers
swing
in
club.
Rio.
Yeah, there's a club like maybe 2 kilometers from my house, a big ass
Yes.
swing club. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that. We'll do another show on that for sure. Um, so so what was I saying? Yeah, so then there was just so much confusion in the beginning, and I was just like, I couldn't tell who was interested, who wasn't. And then, just from being here, I heard that there was a lot of men who considered themselves straight and were with a relationship with a woman, but they would still have sex with the guy. And they found that
Mm-hmm.
normal. They didn't find that being gay or anything like that. It was just
Mm-hmm.
it did. And so I think because I had lived here for so long and I knew that this was the case, I think it helped make me more open to be in an open relationship with a bisexual man. Because I was like,
Mm.
okay, well, he's probably gonna do it anyway. Um,
I got you.
you know,
Mm.
yeah. So I'm grateful that it did help me to expand and open up and not be closed minded. Um, so I see that gender sexuality is much more fluid here and much more open. And yeah, and I think a lot of people don't necessarily define themselves as one thing or the other, and just allow for them to be, you know. Safari says he most definitely wants to swing in Rio. Well, let's do it when you come back. I've been to the Swingers Club already here. We're gonna do that. We're gonna do that. Maybe we'll do that next week.
Go to the swingers club. How was the swingers club, by the way? Did you enjoy it, or was it just a bunch of women and just one guy? Or no, a
No,
bunch of
no, no.
guys and like few women.
No, 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 because here when I said let's do it next week, I didn't mean go to a swingers club. I mean like talk about swinging next week. But
Oh, okay.
only if people want to hear that. So if you want to hear us talk about swinging, write in the messages, write in the notes, comment sections, let us know. So should I talk about that now or should we wait? So anyway, well,
Well, just
okay,
give
to
it
answer
thumbs
your
up, thumbs
question.
down. Thumbs up or thumbs down.
Okay, so I've been a swingers club in the States as well as here, and I
Yeah.
much prefer them in the States because,
Mm-hmm.
excuse me, no, I don't have coronavirus.
Okay.
um, In the States, I felt like it was a lot cleaner and
Mm-hmm.
they had more variety. So like the one that I would go to in the States had different themed rooms, so many different things you could do. And when I was in the one here in Brazil, I went to only one a couple different times, and there wasn't much variety. And
Mm,
so I would go in and I would watch the other people, and I'm like, this is all they were doing. Like, ah, like it was boring me. I could have went to
mm-hmm.
sleep. So, um, the percentage there's almost never going to be more men than women
Mm-hmm.
um in the traditional swingers clubs because they have a price for couples only or women, and
Mm-hmm.
so they try not to have more men than women there, you
Mm-hmm.
know. So there was more women than men there for sure, and then
Mm,
couples. Yeah. Yeah. So there's definitely a lot that we can talk about. But you know what? We've already been on for an hour and 10 minutes.
mm-hmm.
So let's kind of wrap up a little bit and we can continue next week
Yeah,
if you'd
yeah, I
like. If
wanna.
you would like.
No, just before we head out, just because we didn't really get into it too much, it would be interesting if you and I could hook up at some point and talk about the very important points you got to consider when you get into these sort of relationships, which are the rules, what you can or can't
Yeah.
do when things go wrong. Because I had a really bad situation with somebody where we set up some rules, but then when I said okay and ran with it, he definitely
Mhm.
was not like he was not ready for the rules that he set up. So I think it's really important in case anybody's interested in ever being in these sort of relationships, and I've been in them more or less. Um, I think it's important that we break some of that stuff down because that's super important because it's not perfect. It's not like, hey, now we're going to be in an open relationship and whoo, no, jealousy comes into play. You can't not be jealous of your mate. Sometimes seeing something you think you're ready to see, but then when you actually do see it, you're like, oh my God. So there's a lot of stuff that you got to get into and you have to plan before you actually take the leap into something like that.
And that's a good point. And I think we should do this, continue on this week, maybe tomorrow, a couple days, and get into all of that more just because of time. I don't want people to be like,
Of
oh
course,
my God,
yeah.
this is so long. But I do want to touch on that, piggyback on what you said about the jealousy, because just because you're in an open relationship with polyamorous doesn't mean that the whole it gets easier and you don't have jealousy.
Hmm.
Jealousy is a natural feeling. It's a natural emotion. And so any type of relationship, this may come up. But the most important thing is how do you deal with it when it comes up? Do you communicate with your partner open and honestly? Or do you say, okay, let me take a look at where's this jealousy coming from? Why do I have it? Is it my own insecurities? What do I need to do? Do I even need to share it with my partner? Or, sometimes it's good to share it. Maybe it's good to share all the
Hmm.
time. I don't know. It depends on your relationship. But what's most important is that you address it and you see where is it coming from
Yeah,
and talk about
communication.
it in a mature way and not be like, oh, who was this bitch? What the fuck were you doing? You know what I'm saying? So like, it's just um being mature. And one of the things that I found, the more that we can communicate what we're feeling and what we're experiencing, our partner is going to be open to hearing and communicating back with you. But being open and honest in your communication, mature in the sense that you're not saying you did this to me or making it seem like this person is wrong. But when you're saying, this is how I felt in this situation,
Hmm.
and this is what I want to feel like, and this is how I want our relationship to be, and just expressing yourself in a mature way without being angry, without blaming someone. So I think that's the
Hmm.
most important thing, because these emotions can come up in any type of relationship that you're in.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Perfectly said. I
yes,
agree 100%. Communication is key.
yes,
You have to get
yes,
some.
yeah. So I really enjoyed this talk with you, Phil. Like, this was really good. And
Yeah,
I definitely agree that there were many important points that we did not touch on. Still, this is just such a huge topic. There's just so much to really dig into, to dive into. Um, so yeah, it would definitely be nice to do a part two and talk more on to setting up the rules, communication, how to deal with different emotions that come up, you know, and just going a little bit deeper. So
definitely. Or when you
yeah,
have to bitch slap somebody,
right.
when it gets to that level.
Ah, yes, yes. So cool. All right. Well, it's like so we got this time difference. It's early. It's only like 10:19 here, but in Brazil, with the time change, the daylight savings time is now 9:19 EST, and so we're a little bit closer in time. But let me tell you, I wake up at 6 a.m. every morning.
Oh
So
my
by this time,
god.
I get really sleepy. Yeah, not because I want to. I mean, I don't even set an alarm. I wake up at 6 because the light comes
Oh
in.
wow.
Yeah, and I have an eye mask. I just don't usually sleep with it, but maybe I want to sleep with it tonight. But I like
My
to.
my friend that's here, my friend, he
Mhm.
told because I like to sleep with an eye mask too, and then he
Uh-huh.
or something over my head, either like a
Mhm.
blanket or something, and he's like, I have an
Yeah.
eye mask at home, and I should bring it to you. So I asked him. I said, okay, if you bring the eye mask, I'll bring the handcuffs. And it was like, so we got to make a little something happen with that. Yeah.
Yes, yes, you got to. It will be fun. So I'm doing a workshop with Tafari in Detroit, and I'm bringing the eye mask.
Oh,
So if you're in
nice.
Detroit, come on, come experience this tantra sensuality. But all right, yes. So, Phil and I will discuss another day to do part two, and I will put a message out. If you feel free to join me on Facebook. On Facebook, I'm Renee Adolph, ADOLPHE. Also, I have Prandata Prim on Facebook, PRANDHARAPREM. Join me on Instagram. At Instagram, I'm Prandata Prim. Same spelling, PRANDHARAPREM. So join me on one of those on Instagram, Facebook. Give me a thumbs up on YouTube. Please subscribe so that you can continue to receive my videos, my lives um, on Tantra, sacred sexuality. So, Phil, where can people continue to follow you?
Well, they can find me mostly on, and I don't know, can I put is that all right if I share screen real
Of
quick?
course. Hmm.
Check this out, because this is where I do most of my dirty work. It's on my blog,
Hmm.
which is brazusa.wordpress.com, BRAZUSA. And because I was born in Brazil but grew up in the States. I went there when I was 7, so I do most of my dirty work here. I just wrote an article here about my fun times at carnival, so you can find me there. And I do have my YouTube channel, which is The Bridge Point, where it's very nerdy. And on Instagram, I have São Paulo tours, which are just pictures around Sao Paulo. And every once in a while, I do take some people touring Sao Paulo. So if you're down in Sao Paulo and you need a tour of somebody that's been here 10 years, and I will toot my own horn and say that I know the city pretty well, just reach out to me at Sao Paulo Tours at Instagram, and that's where you can find me.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you for sharing that. So check Phil out. When I come to Sao Paulo, I want to do a tour as well. If anybody's coming to Rio, you can do a tour with me as well. Salvador, I do tours. And as a matter of fact, I have Black Rome Experience on Instagram, Black Rome Experience. And that Instagram handle came from when I was interviewed on Soledad O'Brien, matter of fact, for living in Brazil, and it featured me. So I will actually be doing a tour with Kira Chiana in November for Afropunk. Afropunk is coming to Brazil, and then
Oh,
in
cool.
February for Imanja, who is the goddess of the sea. So we're going to be doing that. I do retreats. Every April, I have a retreat exclusively for women of color called Sacred Sister Soul Retreat. Then in August, I have a couples retreat that's open to everyone, all types of couples, whether it's triads, monogamous, polyamorous, all type of couples. You're welcome to join. Um, Gay, lesbian, queer couples, everything. It's just completely open. Come and join us. Um, oh, Sans Ray says that's where I know you from. I was trying to figure out where I've seen you. Yes, I was on Soledad O'Brien. A matter of fact, as well as I was featured on Married at First Sight Lifetime as the expert tantric therapist, couples therapist. So if you watch season 10, episode 10, you will see me working on Married at First Sight on Lifetime as the tantric couples therapist. So if you haven't watched the show, go watch it. Look out for me. And I actually have it here on my YouTube channel. I have a link to the clip. So watch it. Give me a thumbs up and subscribe. And
Cool.
I see you. My little friend came in here. Can you see
Who's
her?
that?
A little cat. Tasha, say
Oh,
hello.
I
Say
was
hello.
expecting. I was expecting
You want
a
naked?
random ass.
No, no random asses here.
She's so cute. By the way, I just followed your other channel because I do have you on Instagram, but I had your other Instagram, but I just followed this Black Rome Experience. It's real cool.
Oh, thank you. Well, I actually
Yeah.
have five Instagram pages. I
Okay.
have Sacred Soul Retreat, Leap Before You Look. Yeah, that's it. Then four.
Nice.
But I mostly do most of my stuff on Pandada Prim, and then yeah, Leave Before You Look too. That's just a personal one, so nothing with work really on there at all. And Sacred Soul
Cool.
Retreat is where I put all my stuff for my retreats. Yeah. All right. So have a wonderful night. Thank you for coming on. And thank you, all you guys who came on, who were writing comments. This was amazing. It was so interactive. It felt really good. And just thank you all.
Yeah, I want to thank the people that did show up that aren't from your circle, that I
Mhm.
put out there. So that's really awesome. And thank you for having me on. It was so much fun. I was a little bit nervous to start because I said, oh my God, what am I going to talk about? But we just ended up having a good old time,
Yeah, and I love it
which
because
is
it just flowed. Yeah, I
exactly.
think yeah, there weren't any like, ooh, we're going to like it just flowed naturally. And I knew it
Hmm.
would because we've had great conversations and and I just when I see what you post in a group on Facebook, I'm like, and then what you've shared with me. So it's been nice. I think we definitely need to do a round two and expand a little bit more. So
Awesome. And then
yeah, and it's
I'll see if I can find like a nerdy tantric subject and have you on my channel.
all right, perfect.
Sex with aliens, maybe.
Right. I could be nerdy too. You see me in my glasses, right? It looks so intelligent.
Oh boy.
Awesome. All right. So this was great. I had a
Cool.
good
It
time. I'm
was
gonna take my butt
great.
to bed.
Yeah. Cool.
Okay.
It
And I'll
was
see you guys
nice being with
soon. Thank you
you.
everyone for coming on. All right,
Live
yes.
long and prosper. Live
Okay.
long and prosper.
Yes.
Yes. Bye, guys.